Hello everybody, this is Flights in Asia. I'm gonna go ahead and start now. So the carnage of the COVID-19 outbreak is still continuing, and there's a lot of news going on. It's mostly bad, but there's some encouraging which I probably will do separate videos on. And hello everybody. Testing the audio here. So anyways, this video will be used as my one of the first videos of the week though. And actually I like this format. So this specific live stream will focus heavily on the Middle East, Central Asia, and India, what's going on with those markets and the outbreak. And it seems like it's no different. So we'll go ahead and get started with the headline. Actually, the headline airline that has made the biggest the news this week has been Emirates. And Emirates, in the case of Emirates, the Dubai-based mega airline, this is from a few days ago. They are reducing their flights. Now, the UAE had suspended a lot of the flights, but apparently there seems to be some exception for Emirates. They'll be operating select routes. They have some routes to these are the countries. The following countries will see some services: the UK, Switzerland, Hong Kong, gotta get this, Thailand, Malaysia, the Philippines. The Philippines will be specifically Manila. Thailand, I'm assuming Bangkok will be the lone destination. Japan, Singapore, South Korea, Australia, South Africa, the US, and Canada. Now, most of these markets are going to be long distance routes like the US and Canada. So this is kind of surprising, but I can see why they're... Is my audio working? All right. So going back to the long haul routes, I think it's still key for Emirates operations, especially in this time. And I think these are the main links that they need, where the travel demand, even if the economic situations won't make it feasible, it'll probably still they'll still probably be operating these routes. So and this is gonna happen. Oh, they're still gonna be doing mostly cargo flights. So this is straight from the Emirates, by the way. Emirates. Now, Emirates is also reducing their basic salary of employees and doing more discretionary spending now. Same stuff going on. And the president of Emirates, like Sir Tim Clark, is going to be taking 100% basic salary cut, straight from their press release here. So I believe here it says they're keeping the staff, but they are going to be reducing the salaries for the next 3 months. The same protocol right now, practicing the reduction of costs by asking employees to take some cases unpaid leave. That's going on at Emirates. Same thing going on at Etihad. We're seeing some more disruptions. And select cities will still see some services, but like Melbourne, we'll see some reduced services. Some parts like Belarus will see limited services. European destinations. Manila, I believe... Oh, hey, Richard. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, I'm just going over some of the headlines. I just went over Emirates here, so yeah, we can discuss Emirates later on. So Johannesburg reduction. Interesting enough, after the initial order for suspension of flights, they are keeping, again, like Etihad is keeping some of their US flights like Chicago, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., Dulles Airport. So they are gonna do 4 or 3 times a week to these cities. And then of course India, all flights to India are gonna be suspended. See it right here. Kazakhstan. So these are just some of the flight suspensions that you're gonna be seeing from these Middle Eastern airlines. China still suspended. I think Emirates, I believe. I'm not sure. Anyone can confirm for me. China is still, Emirates flights to China have been suspended also. So this is straight out of, okay, well, anyways, straight out of Emirates again. And yeah, so right now the UAE has an order to the airlines to cut down on their flights. And I believe also the UAE is also suspending or trying to reduce the amount of transit passengers. You're not allowing people to get out of the airport. I don't think they're allowing a lot of connecting travel right now. And yeah, they are closing down most air travel in and out of the Emirates. Okay, so again, same thing. The same thing again. They're providing the ability to rebook. Same thing. Now Qatar Airways, they've issued out, according to Pax Aero here, they are reducing 75% capacity. Nothing really surprising. If you guys have questions, go ahead and send it in. I know there's the connection issue might be an issue here right now. Internet's not great right now. We have, there's an internal memo. 75% capacity announced, and see if we can find information on the flights. I can't read Arabic, but you get the idea. Just how bad this situation has become. I believe Qatar Airways is also grounding their A380s and will be using more of their newer aircraft like the 787s. Now we will go to India, and from the business standard. Now, Air India has been in a precarious situation already. This is only getting worse for them right now, and I believe they are implementing some cost cutting too. But now they're getting some resistance from some cabin crew union. See if my audio is good. Why is my audio not working? So Air India on I'm gonna just read this out. Air India on Wednesday implemented a series of cost-saving measures, including reduction in allowances and fuel reimbursement for officers. However, the move is being resisted by its cabin crew. Oh, hey Hayes, what's up? All India Cabin Crew Association, who have called the move discriminatory and illegal. Another thing that Air India is also doing, now I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure there are similar benefits for airlines. Actually, yeah, I see the question, Richard, I'll get to it. Let's go over this real fast. Some airlines here, actually they will survive. That's but I'll go into that. We can go into that even more. 30 to 40% cut in subsistence allowance paid to cabin crew on foreign layovers, and 10% reduction. You get the idea, just how dire the situation is. Now we're gonna go to the other Go Air. Also, all flights are being cancelled apparently. Indigo and Vistara, the other competing. Oh, Etihad, yeah, Etihad is in Air India. Definitely, Air India's situation has been. Actually, I did a video on it, like 2 videos on it. So far, there hasn't been any improvement, and I don't know, especially with the way that the management so far. We can discuss that further. If there's any you guys have anything else we can bring up about these airlines? So apparently, I'm not sure what this Janta curfew. This is, I believe, in India again. So voluntary. I believe they are. Go Air. Again, yeah, largest domestic airline. No. Indigo, I mean. Yeah, in low cost, no frill carrier. Nepal. Actually, here's another one. Nepal actually is straight out of Nepal here. Now, I'm not sure online Kabar. This outlet. Nepal suspends all international flights from Sunday. Long route. Okay, so this is basically government mandates. So all international flights in and out of the country has been cut for the foreseeable future. And from Kazakhstan, Air Astana, the same thing. Same thing going on. Effective already since March 15 until April 15. And right now they're also in an emergency situation. So like the whole world again, nothing different. And Uzbekistan, the last one, they've suspended some flights to Tokyo and Rome. And after the initial flights to China and Urumqi. Urumqi, I believe, is in China also, or in Mongolia. I'm not sure. Wait, I mean, my memory here. Seoul is also cancelled eventually, and they're due to Saudi Arabia's temporary ban on pilgrims and tours to Mecca and Medina. The company suspended flights from Takshan to Medina and Jeddah. But they are, like, according to this article, also they have been doing some rescue flights. So, and I think most of these airlines are like, I think Air India is also doing some rescue flights along with the other airlines around the world. Water here and charging the laptop. And apparently, oddly enough, they are still, I'm not sure if this is going to go forward, Uzbekistan Airways' plans for flights to Munich. Now, this is scheduled for April 1st, I mean. I'm not sure if this is going to be going through given the growth, of the rise of cases in Germany. For some reason, yeah, Germany is starting to pick up their cases. I believe it's like 24,000 COVID-19 cases being reported in the media. Yeah, much of Europe is right now, like, at least there's several countries I believe have like over 20,000, and it's only going to be climbing. Yeah, so we'll go back to Emirates and Qatar actually, Richard, we can actually discuss this Emirates and Qatar, given that connecting airline, absolutely, I think they're going to be surviving. They'll get through this, and the government, again, similar in these Middle East carriers, they will probably have like the support of their governments, as they have done. Now, this core course has always been one of the advantages of, like, there's some airlines like Uzbekistan suspend flights to Southeast Asia. Is there any specific routes that okay, Jakarta and Kuala Lumpur? Yeah, okay. How long, do you know if the routes to, like, especially to Malaysia, how the traffic for Uzbekistan Airways, how busy those routes usually are? Like, especially interesting to know, like, the Central Asian. I wonder if Air Astana also has some routes. I would assume Singapore, unless there's other cities that have interest from, like, Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. Kind of thinking. Especially, like, there's some destinations growing. There's some surprising routes coming out of, like, Southeast Asia, like Vietnam to Bamboo Airways was gonna do their Prague flights. So I would assume, like, there's some growth and interest to, like, these Central Asian countries. Yeah, and then Qatar Airways, I think they're still having that issue with the neighboring countries, but weirdly enough, they've managed to survive. So, I mean, if they can get through that and having that blockade of having to go around these countries, I think they'll be fine. Qatar's government, and I think as long as the Qatari government supports Qatar Airways. Now Etihad, they've made some questionable investments, and like Air Italy didn't really pan out well. And usually, it's, I think Etihad to an extent is overshadowed by the Dubai-based Emirates, even though Abu Dhabi, the perception of Abu Dhabi as a connecting hub isn't as popular as Dubai. This is just my perception and how I see it. And oddly enough, it's kind of like, Etihad is like that little brother right now. Emirates has really made its strategy, and they figured out their 777s and A380s just, and having, actually, I think the difference between Emirates and Etihad is the hub, actually. I think the hub airport that they're using. Once again, everybody, thanks again for coming in, by the way, and then sharing this night. And this will be available online a little later also. And then, actually, is there any other interesting news coming out from the other countries like Central Asia that I haven't, like, I know Iran has that. I'm pretty sure Iran right now, like a country like Iran, has probably shut down their whole aviation sector. I wonder. But yeah, by the way, if there's any other like, we're done mostly, but we can go to other regions, and then we can circle back into Richard. However, new airlines like Starlux will not survive. However, the CEO has good knowledge of the airline market and operations. He will have to think hard. I think, yeah, actually, what's his name? I forgot. I keep losing his name. The former Eva Air president. Apparently, that was another family drama. Weirdly enough, that Asia has a lot of family dramas with airlines. Like Korean Air is, like, I like talking about Korean Air. And right now they're going through their own issues. I think their stakeholder meetings happening today or sometime this week. I don't know. Uzbekistan Airways flies to the Southeast region. However, most of them are terminated, such as Singapore. Jakarta Kuala Lumpur route is also not making money. Well, I think for Uzbekistan Airways, it's kind of like that odd man in that Kuala Lumpur, Jakarta, and Indonesia and Malaysia. While there's a lot of travel between them, you have Garuda, you have Air Asia, Malaysia Airlines. I think serves that. I'm pretty sure Malaysia Airlines better serve that route. Then you also have, like, I think KLM also. I wonder if all that. No. Wait, thinking. Actually, let's go look that up. Who's serving Kuala Lumpur right now? Let's see. So on a regular day on that route, yeah, okay, so, oh shoot, wait, hold on. How come this is not viewing? Are you guys seeing, like, the screen here, or how come this is not? Okay, wait. There. Okay, so on a regular day, it's Jakarta to Kuala Lumpur. Okay, so Malaysia Airlines, and then there's CityLink. CityLink's there. And then, yeah, okay, so KLM, that was a wild guess. But then again, I understand KLM has a connection to Jakarta. There's a historical connection there, by the way. Air Asia, okay, Air Asia's expected. Air Asia's, wonder how many. Then you have, okay, so that's it. Surprise, even KLM. And it doesn't seem like it's listed. Yeah, I'd assume with those airlines, given like the Air Asia, like, I wonder how much the tickets are costing. Probably doesn't cost that much. And Malaysia Airlines probably uses their 737s on it. And meanwhile, I think like an airline like Uzbekistan Airways will have the pressure to fill in like a bigger seat aircraft. And compared to these airlines like Airbus A320s and KLM is the exception here. Probably I'm assuming they're using a 777 on that route or A330 just to. And this is not even like the main route for them is probably like from Jakarta to Amsterdam maybe. And then of course the brand recognition isn't there again. So on that route, I don't know, man. I don't know how Uzbekistan Airways would, even in a regular normal situation, would be able to compete with those airlines. Then surprising enough, like these airlines have like, I mean, there's also other, of course, the kangaroo routes, and there's Singapore coming out of Singapore, and then there's also some no, Singapore is the one that's you usually get like connecting. Some Central Asian carriers are purchasing 737 Max. Yeah, I heard about that, and I think there's one that got like a like there's a lot of became part of the joke. Like, are you sure you're ordering this aircraft? You know what happened? It was after even after like I think not sure was it during the Singapore Air Show or right, kind of confusing my Does an airline having a Star Alliance flagship help through the crisis? I think for now, I think it's helping some airlines. But again, like again, airline alliances, the benefits of them are not always distributed equally. I think Star Alliance has that really good balance, and meanwhile, you have like others that are just like, uh, Sky Team has been looked at as the lesser of the other alliances. But it depends on the market though. Like if you're looking from Trans-Pacific and then you have like ANA United, I think there'll be right now. I think that kind of partnership or Korean and Delta right now. But even though that most of those routes are probably like cut, very essential for their operations and ability to connect to other cities. Then you also have like a Star Alliance to Singapore right now, to Europe, with the joint venture. I believe it's with Lufthansa and Singapore Airlines, and I don't think they're going well right now, but given that the whole COVID situation in Germany is unfolding right now. In a normal situation, I believe it's the basis of airline alliances, and I love talking about it because it helps spice up the situation with various airlines and markets. Like it turns all these. It's fun because you see these airports turn into like competitive mega hubs. So like Narita Stronghold, I look at Narita as a stronghold in a battle between One World and Star Alliance, and then you have like of course you have even Beijing now. You have these airports, Daxing and Capital Airport. Capital is because of Air China is a Star Alliance, more Star Alliance, and you have all these other Star Alliance carriers mostly there. And then the shift now, the Daxing is going to be like more for the One World Airlines, I believe. But going back to the alliances and serving like some routes, some markets like transatlantic right now, it's pretty shot up. So there's no advantage for anybody right now, especially like after Trump's temporary ban on flights between between the European countries, mostly Shenzhen, but I believe they extended it to the UK now, and then going to the US airports. Now this really puts the disadvantage on airlines like Norwegian. I should have brought Norwegian up last week, the last time we did this live stream thing. Norwegian's getting screwed right now. I think they're cutting down most of their long haul, and they're very reliant. They don't have that kind of alliance kind of thing or partnership. So that's another one that we got to look at now. It's like, oh crap, this could be another airline that, for reasons of, okay, most Sky Team members, this is from Hayes, most Sky Team members in the Middle East are taking a hit, such as the Middle Eastern Airlines and Saudia. Yeah, again, and this is the one thing that has always been a thorn on Sky Team, that aside from Korean Air and Delta, like, and KLM Air France, there isn't much large, well-known brands, and you don't have like the Qatar or the Emirates. So in situations like this, even like member airlines of an alliance isn't always going to benefit. RP Norwegian, oh man, I hope not. I hope not. They're making, I believe Norwegian and like airlines like Norwegian and before that, wow, good, you just want to see them do well because the like markets like the Trans-Pacific market and the transatlantic market is mostly the alliance carriers, and having like an external player like them come in, or Iceland Air too on transatlantic sector. Yeah, I don't know. I think Norwegian's never gonna be the same for at least a year or two after this, because yeah. Then we have yeah, actually, any other airlines that we want to discuss about? It doesn't have to be. I know I initially said I had a plan earlier for all these, like just specific market. But if you guys want to discuss another airline that normally doesn't get discussed on the main press, like this, I'm really trying to find like stories from all over the place. Really fun, actually. Then we have actually, you know what? I'm kind of thinking right now too. Like there's some routes that, especially like Qantas. We briefly did it. There was during last stream we briefly discussed Qantas and um, Virgin, Virgin Australia specifically. Vistara. Oh yeah, Vistara. I think they'll be fine, and unlike Air India, they have the management mix of Tata Sons Company and Singapore Airlines actually. They'll be a bit more flexible with their planning and strategy going forward. Oh, Pakistan actually is a good. Actually, that's a very good. It's a very good pickup here. Let's go look at Pakistan Airlines. See what's going on with them. Again, some of these airlines I don't. Oh, okay. Here we go. Pakistan Airlines for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, Pakistan is going to be suspending all international flights. So, no surprise there. Oh, Philippine Airlines. Oh yeah, actually, right now they're operating limited services, so actually we can go with them right now. Actually, let's go. But before that, let's go finish this article here. So again, most of the Middle East right now, government imposed suspensions. Not the choice of the airlines. Now, the airlines would probably do the same thing, but again, the repeating story all over the place right now. Philippine Airlines. I'm gonna go look into their website. We'll go look into their websites. Domestic flights right now are suspended. We briefly discussed it, but I'm down to go discuss it even more. So, international flights will be temporarily suspended March 26th. Yeah, so 26 we still have a few more days for that. So right now, yeah, nobody's flying. I believe Cebu Pacific's the same thing too. April 15th is the target date. And I think when it gets back to, it's gonna be a little bit. I think the first thing that Philippine Airlines, like most of these airlines, again, like their domestic markets is really gonna be their key markets of recovery, and those who have strong presences in their respective countries are gonna, like, their domestic markets are gonna be the ones that are gonna be having a much easier time, I believe, because there's a lot. Bangladesh national carrier. Okay, yeah, but we'll get to Bangladesh. Hang in there. Gotta make sure I get this. Bangladesh. Try to get to that. Yeah, see, Bangladesh is another one that I don't normally report on. Like the videos, I never really do like these airlines. I don't really see them on videos either. Like AP, Associated Press. Kind of rambling here. See what's going on here. Okay, so again, kind of. Oh, this is gonna suck for Japan. The Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Imagine all the investment for Japan, and the potential that was for the Japanese. Not for Japan though. We'll get to Japan though, actually, because I always enjoy talking about Japan and the travel, the aviation market there. So Bangladesh national carrier and 3 privately operated airlines decided Thursday to suspend flights to India. So I think, and I do believe this is not just limited to India. Probably using more. So yeah, here you go. You have another article here from Dhaka Tribune, March 17. And actually, let's go look at this one here. Okay, so Malaysia is another one that got, I see, for some reason Malaysia haze, man. All these airlines have been like hitting up on Air Asia. Actually, in past videos I have discussed, I mean, not related to COVID-19, but Air Asia is another one I've discussed in previous videos, but nothing sort of like COVID right now. Air Asia just had their apparently they just cleared Tony Fernandez and from the Airbus issue. But yeah, actually, with this, we can go ahead and discuss Malaysia Airlines even more. Like, if there's any new information that we discussed that earlier last week. Definitely down to talk more about it. It's another one of my more intriguing airlines I like to talk about. Okay, so Bangladesh routes. So these are domestic routes, and I see Kathmandu. Wait, hold on. Dhaka, Kathmandu. Then I'm not sure if these are just all domestic and international. If someone can. So again, Kuala Lumpur, and then because of the Middle Eastern countries suspending the flights. Okay. So there's a government mandate, and of course the 14 days. Everybody's doing 14 days. That's Bangladesh, Biman, Bangladesh. Yeah, Air Asia. In terms of Air Asia's, I think Air Asia will be able to recover well. I mean, but then again, can airlines survive on cargo online load? Cargo online load only. Depends on the cargo, I think. I don't know. I'm not a cargo specialist, but I would assume that unless. Oh, China Southern. Yeah, well, we should discuss China Southern, actually. That's a good one. Very intriguing right now. Talking about Kathmandu, is Nepal Airlines surviving? Nepal Airlines, I believe they've been struggling for a while, and you know, they're not as expansive as like maybe say an Air India. You know, even though Air India has been struggling, then you have Nepal. I think even Nepal Airlines has been struggling for a while now. I mean, they've been trying to sell some old aircraft. There's a 757, I believe, they've been trying to sell, and apparently they just can't sell it. Kind of like Thai Airways with their Air A340s. Like, might as well. I don't know. Like, they might want to just bring it to a scrapyard or something at this point. I don't think anyone wants to buy a 757, given that there's like 8 or A321s now you can just get. Probably the value of an A321 is probably better than getting an old 757 that there probably isn't that many parts for. Yeah, but going back to cargo, yeah, I think Emirates has some. I think Emirates might do okay, but it depends on the airline again. It's like, you know, we have to look at the airline's individual cases. What kind of cargo flights do they operate? But again, I would be interested to have someone who is more familiar with it bring in some insights on that. I mean, but I think with AirAsia though, I think one thing we need to like take caution with AirAsia is, you know, Tony Fernandez and the AirAsia team has been very ambitious. Like they've been trying to like expand rapidly, and you know, I wonder if this is like the wall of the limitation, how far they're gonna be able to go for the foreseeable future. Lots of aircraft, and they've been you know, wonder how much investment that they've been putting on, and possibly a lot of loans and leasing aircraft, you know. And this is like a liability that could haunt them later on, and we're seeing it with like some of the decisions that they've been making, especially like reducing the A330s that they had initially ordered, going down to A321s, knowing that, you know, you can't bring in all A330s on a lot of these routes, especially within Asia. Now there are some of the AirAsia X you can do, but I think, yeah, AirAsia X has been, there's some especially some of the affiliates of AirAsia have not been doing well financially. That's something we need to take note though. If this goes further, then oh man, it's gonna be Malaysia's airline situations. Like, you know, you have Malaysia Airlines that's already struggling, and then you have AirAsia. AirAsia X, I'm not sure. Rising fuel costs and travel bans. Yeah, AirAsia X is one of those airlines that, unlike the regular the AirAsia Berhad or the like Philippines AirAsia or Indonesia AirAsia, you have these markets that are like captive markets, like within Malaysia, and then you also have Indonesia, which is a very, you know, our archipelagos going back to last week. And you have the Philippines, like these archipelago markets where, you know, if you want to take a boat, great. I know we mentioned this, but I think for the benefit of everybody, like Mohammed, first time here, and Sean, yeah, I mean, you know, those markets, I think those are going to be markets that like will be the keys for these, have always been the keys for AirAsia. And, you know, Malaysia Airlines has been kind of like, in the last few years, been on the back burner on especially like domestic markets in Malaysia. Something kind of discussing, actually, it's kind of fascinating to watch what's going on with those airlines. Now China Southern, let's go to China Southern, and of course the Guangzhou based airline. And right now, I believe, okay, so we have some articles here. Apparently since February, and this is something about China and their aviation market. I've always looked at it. Again, I told this last week that, you know, Team China will support their businesses even to the extent of providing funding and loans, as in the case of Hainan Airline, the HNA group. So here we go. So this is like last month, China Southern resumed over 2,100 domestic flights. Now China's a fascinating country in terms of like domestic travel. They have the train network. I believe the train network is mostly on the eastern seaboard side, like the Beijing, the Shanghais, and all the way down to Hong Kong now. So that's kind of giving like airlines like China Southern, excuse me, China Southern and Cathay a run for their money. And yeah, China Southern is one of those airlines that, especially the largest airline in Asia. So, in terms of passenger traffic, not just China, but you're talking about whole Asia here. Now, it's pales in comparison like one American or Delta. I believe, I'm not sure what the exact ranking is. So they've been doing a little bit more, and that's a good sign for them. Now, in terms of trans-Pacific travel, Guangzhou isn't really known. Hong Kong is like more of the, the more class kind of place. Would you say, like for connecting travel? That's the one thing about weird situation in like especially the Pearl River Delta. I've done a video on it, and it's kind of like you have China Southern and Guangzhou, and like maybe about 50 to 100 miles. Then you have Cathay Pacific, and then you have Shenzhen, that area. Very competitive region where I wonder if like especially in China Southern has been doing more of these international flights. When but then again, it's kind of like Cathay Pacific has more of the attention. So yeah, and yeah, China going like again like these airlines will probably be supported by their government. The Chinese central government's gonna support them. Don't see any Xiamen Air, China Southern rival. Yeah, again, I think China Southern's Xiamen Air is actually some part government intervention going on with them, and they're gradually gonna. I think now with these flights situation going on Southeast Asia, like the Southeast Asia is becoming like besides okay, wait a minute, why is this not? Do you foresee airlines operating differently post COVID-19? Now, I think this is not just me. Wait, how come is this not? Do you guys see the? I know I keep asking this question, but I'm sorry. Bear with me here. I think we'll just go ahead and pass this to everybody, not just me. Do you foresee the airlines operating differently post COVID-19? Yeah, definitely. You have yeah, but before that, actually, before I get into that, you guys see the news article, right? I don't know, how come my screen is not showing the news article? I'm using a cell phone here. Foresee the airlines operating differently post COVID-19? Yeah, definitely. All right, never mind. Take it back. I'm trying to fix this thing. But yeah, I think that question, I think let's just also not just me here. I'll read your answers out, everybody. Yeah, absolutely. COVID-19 has actually made people, I mean, this is a joke that I kind of say to other people, and now we know what the priorities are. Some, especially like now business travel is like no, I'm a programmer. I better be good at technology, or at least have some knowledge. I mean, but yeah, going back, yeah. Then again, like we have now people could be realizing that there's gonna be more. I think there's gonna be more. Like I know South Korea and the Philippines to an extent has some health declarations. I wonder in other countries if they have to an extent like some sort of like inspection service, inspection kind of thing for health checks, thermometers or thermal scanners, whatever. I know South Korea has this health declaration before you land there, and then depends on the country. That's one thing I think governments are going to be starting to do. And I know before this outbreak, Singapore had this. I believe there's some sort of health thing that they were doing. I'm not sure. I'll go look that up actually. Singapore. It was before the outbreak. Singapore. There's something about you must be healthy coming in. Health. Travel. Okay, there's something here. But if I can find it, I'll probably. I don't. Now we're only seeing now like Malaysia. So Malaysia has like a health declaration too. Okay. Yeah, some countries. It depends on the country and the market. I know, like some place like Hong Kong. I don't remember any. Japan. I don't know. Never really remembered any declarations for like, let's say like a form or whatever. That might be happening more, especially like you give your contact information and they check your, like some thermals. You don't have to like give too much information, but probably like a you know, there's some places, like I know the Philippines has this weird thing. It's like they put a carpet and it's like a foot bath or something. I'm not sure how that works, how that helps anything, but okay. I mean, I've seen it. Yeah, that those things, those carpets and water, or I'm not sure if there's water, if it even works, or the effectiveness of it. Could be seeing more attempts, at least, to curb illnesses being transmitted through air travel, even in domestic flights. So that's something that, yeah, Tokyo 2020. It's such a shame, actually. Like, a lot of people have been looking forward to it, and I think they just had the Japan Airlines flight just with the torch. Yeah, yeah. Or no, the Olympic flame landed in. I'm not sure if it's I think Miyagi Prefecture. So I'm assuming Sendai. Get my Japanese geography correct. Or the whole issue with the that airport, by the way, got swept by the tsunami. Kind of fitting that the torch relay would go there, but now it's like we're having a much bigger situation in Japan. Such a shame, though. I mean, a lot of these airlines like ANA and actually, yeah, Japan, man. I think in terms, but yeah, with Japan though, like whenever in terms of like trans-Pacific travel, I still see Japan as the main trans-Pacific crossroad. Even though that you have Hong Kong, Beijing, and Shanghai, and you have all these like Hong Kong, Tokyo, yeah, Japan Airlines torch departed from Greece. Yeah, that the 787, I think it landed in Miyagi Prefecture, so Sendai, unless someone can correct me. Pretty amazing that they can, unlike, they don't allow fire on aircraft or whatever, like anything flammable, but of all things, like they'll have for the past several decades, they've actually had the Olympic flame on aircraft. Pretty cool, by the way. I wonder how they do it. Wish you can bring something on it, but apparently there's they use a lot of safety measures for that kind of stuff. Then again, but yeah, I think with Tokyo, again, I think when this whole situation recovers, again, Japan Airlines and the American joint ventures, and you have like the United ANA kind of, the partnership still going. Yeah, I'm surprised even that they even had that flight, go through, given the whole global situation right now. And in terms of trans-Pacific travel, yeah, we'll have like thinking right now. All right, here we go. Yeah, but like Tokyo, the Tokyo 2020 has been heavily marketed, and we're seeing all that work. Can you imagine all that work now? And the tourism industry of Japan has been banking on it, and now it's like all that work could be pushed one more year. Now, I actually have been really like one of those folks who like, at this point, given the whole situation and I mean, in terms of the aviation industry, I don't think the airlines will be able to adjust, but I'm not sure if the athletes will be able to, and whether how they're gonna be doing health checks for these athletes if they get there, or if they're gonna be able to travel to Japan. Because we could have like these issues of China, like China right now is having like secondary imported cases. I believe Airbus is trying to resume operations, and Boeing. I think Boeing, we all know Boeing has their issues with the 737 Max. Thai Airways, and yeah, but Airbus, I believe like, I'm not. This is the first time you never really hear much orders from Airbus. Yeah, 737 Max, I have no idea. I think we all have no idea what's going on with these companies. I believe Airbus is attempting to resume deliveries. I'm not sure what the schedule is. I believe there's like I think last month or 2 months back, Bamboo, like 787s just went to the first one went to Bamboo Airways in Vietnam. And beyond that, I'm not sure about the key deliveries going on right now. Boeing is requesting a bailout. Yeah, that's. But again, you have to understand. Yeah, that's Boeing, and usually U.S. government, in terms of dealing with the U.S. government, Boeing has a lot of contracts. So I think there's going to be some workings there. But I believe they will get it though some point. Now I don't know if it'll salvage the 787 program. Such a shame, actually. Airbus. I wonder the aircraft. Airbus, I believe, is also getting a bailout too. I think both of them right now. I haven't heard. Actually, interesting enough, I haven't heard much from Embraer or um, Mitsubishi. I think actually, interesting enough, Mitsubishi. Some good news, by the way. I do believe that there has been a test flight with the space jet. So very encouraging news in what is otherwise very depressing headlines. True, absolutely. Yeah, the 787 is a very efficient aircraft. Absolutely. Yeah, I think the airlines are seeing the benefits now. I'm not an airline executive, but you know, it's proven itself with them. So, and airlines, including like the new startup airlines like Bamboo Airways, and you also have like even the Southeast Asian airlines. I wonder like um the A350s, of course, also very popular now. You got airlines like Malaysia Airlines and then Philippine Airlines. The perpetual battle is being right now. Both Boeing and Airbus are suffering. Thai Airways, yeah, Thai Airways has been like struggling for like the last few years. I don't know if this is gonna be like the nail and already the coffin. Not much. Actually, yeah, Bombardier. With Bombardier, I think they've given away their their commercial aircraft manufacturing away to, I think, Mitsubishi. They sold it. So there isn't much commercial aircraft manufacturing from the Bombardier company. I think Airbus is planning to buy out the remaining shares of the commercial department. Yeah, Thai Airways. But yeah, I'll say again, Thai Airways has just been very pathetic in terms of their Thai Airways. I don't know what else to say with Thai Airways at this point. I think I mean, going to Thai Airways now, and I think this is like a wake up call to the Thai government. And the Thai government's patience probably is not. I'm not sure if it depends on the patience of the government or because I keep hearing on reports and like bloggers and comment section that the situation in Thai Airways has been very tied to it's basically like kind of like I don't want to be making too much here, but there's a lot of government involvement, so and a lot of like it's used as technically I mean most of these airlines are like considered like national airlines, so you're gonna see like a lot of like these heads of state using it or upper level politicians. I'm not sure, like, yeah, I keep hearing it, so and how it's affecting being a detriment to the airline. Thai Airways has been having so many problems long before the COVID-19 outbreak, and this is just adding more to the situation. And we're actually seeing how it's affecting everybody right now. And some airlines that the problems as before are now being exacerbated now. kind of pathetic, but you know, when you think about it, it's just really, it's kind of depressing, making a depressing situation even more worse. Lion Air is cutting a lot of capacity, including their subsidiaries. Yeah, Lion Air planned IPO has been, and then you also have yeah, the Indonesia and Malaysia subsidiaries, they're cutting down. And especially like, yeah, I think they're gonna keep their domestic. I saw an article, I did a video, the one from Saturday. I think they're still keeping their domestic flights, but I think that definitely will change. I mean, this has become repetitive now. Like the theme of aviation right now has been virus outbreak. Therefore, you know, governments are imposing sanctions and restrictions, cut flights, reduce staff. All this is very repetitive now at this point. Even their Thai subsidiary, but and something that add haze is also the Thai Lion Air is also cutting down their flights. I think they're suspending it. They've, I think 23 or yesterday, I think they started. Some of the subsidiaries are going down. Yeah, I think this is also going to affect, I think, Lion Air and I think Air Asia too. Surprisingly enough, there's some Air Asia subsidiaries are just not doing well. I think the big one I'm suspecting would be I think Air Asia also. I mean, fun fact though, Air Asia has the India, and I think uh that apparently has kind of been rocky. There's also some situation going on with the ownership. That's another one. Tata Sons in India has a India has a fascinating situation with Air Asia. Tata Sons company has both Vistara, joint venture with Vistara and Air Asia India. And how's that playing out? Yeah, I think this. I mean, Air Asia India is like probably not the. They're one of the smaller players in India right now. Very hard to get slots in India, by the way. Apparently, even after Jet Airways demise, they were just like trying to get some slots. And you know, again, India's government is usually like a very centralized kind of planning in terms of like flight slots. So the allocations just went all over the place. Oh man, yeah. Anything else? Any other airlines that we want to bring up here? Like, you know, this is some. I want to ask you guys also. Yeah, I know Richard mentioned the question, and you guys can go ahead and answer this. Like, what other ways that you're gonna see aviation change after this? Because I see like more health checks, and here's another thing too. Something to mention about business travel. The decision on whether to do business travel for executives or whatnot. Are there any airlines increasing domestic flights during this COVID-19? I think I saw like Korean Air actually is starting to bump up some of their flights out of Gimpo. Um, and of course, we just did China Southern, so and right now they're picking back up again. I think it depends on when they're picking. Like the domestic markets for some of these airlines are going to be picking up. I think one of the routes, interesting enough, that Korean Air is picking up again is the Gimpo Jeju route, and I think there's also Busan, Gimpo to Busan. Um, those are two major destinations, especially Jeju. But I'm kind of surprised that's usually known as a tourist destination in Korea. Some of the LCCs, yeah, that's true. Um, I do believe. What else? I mean, not sure. I don't have it off my head here. I think Japan Airlines. I just saw a notice from Japan Airlines a few hours ago. More cuts. Yeah, so domestic flights. Meanwhile, not a very fun time for any of these airlines right now. I really don't want to be an airline executive right now. this point, like having to deal with all this stuff. So yeah, Korean Air is actually, by the way, Korean Air is cutting down some more international flights. I think there's, again, like Emirates also. I think the count is from the news articles, 21 cities. They're still going to be operating some to the US, Canada, like actually, you know, double check on my sources here. Actually, let's go look into them. Actually, let's go look at this one from Korea here. Yeah, so Korean Air, 21 destinations. More flights to China cut, and I think AVIATION is going to be doing the same thing too. Actually, let's go remove this. So they are gonna. Oh, here's something. E-Star Jet has been struggling. So this is one of those airlines in South Korea that highly competitive, low-cost scene. And right now, I think this is like one of those decimation situations happening and unfolding in Korea, given that there's like 6 or 7 low-cost airlines there. Korean Air and Asiana have their own subsidiaries involved in the game, like the Air Busans and the Air Souls. Then you have Asiana. No, that's Asiana, and then Korean Air is Jin Air. So yeah, so highly competitive. Yeah. I don't know. Actually, interesting. I saw a comment on one of the Incheon airport videos talking about like Incheon and how everybody's just eating each other up, the routes. And Korea as powerful of an economy, it's also like, and the aviation industry, given that it is one of those trans-Pacific hubs. It's just like, you know, the airspace is so crowded with all these airlines. So they are really, this is probably one of those other airlines to keep lookout here, because this one could fall. I mean, I'm not sure if Jeju Air that recently, I think they acquired a stake in it, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to save it, or they're going to fold it into the Jeju Air operations. Something to keep an eye on. So just as bad. I don't think they're, wait, let me see here. Full service. Okay, they're talking about, it's kind of mixed here. Yeah, Korea is one of those places that you just, whenever you're talking about low-cost airlines in Asia, South Korea is just one of the more interesting ones, because you just have like those low-cost airlines just like competing against each other. Really interesting situation there. And I believe, yeah, that's so one of the things too, like another thing too, like gotta take note, like South Korea, there's several countries here that are considering, South Korea is one, how it's gonna play out with these multiple low-cost airlines and Asiana and Korean Air. Actually, let's go look at Asiana here. I know we're well, North Korea's safe. I don't know about that. All right. I don't want to piss off the dear leader, but we don't know. We don't know for sure. But we'll take their word. Apparently, they don't have any cases, so you know, we'll move along. So Asiana 6 A3. Okay, so here Asiana is another airline that's going to be suspending their A380s here. Apparently, division heads. So there's more pay cuts. Oh, so here's another one. Asiana 14 cargo aircraft. So I remember. Wait, cargo. Richard, I think Richard, was that you who mentioned about the cargo flights, or was it Sean? Not sure who it was, but yeah. So Asiana is using idled passenger planes to bolster air cargo. So yeah, these full service airlines. This is an interesting strategy, actually. Actually, wait, let me go try to see if I can. There we go. Asiana. So Asiana is taking advantage of the situation. A380s, yeah, I think this is gonna just accelerate after this crisis. Yeah, everybody's gonna look for smaller aircraft, or it seems so. The A380s are just one of those aircraft that, you know, as much as anybody would want to see them operate and succeed, it's just not fit the market. It never really quite fit that market, because apparently, you know, we're now going into these efficient aircraft. Size really isn't that big of a deal for these companies. So here's an interesting one. The company also started shifting its passenger flights into the freight business on the routes Ho Chi Minh, Vietnam, and Taipei from March 18. And here's another one. So yeah, again, Air France retired their A380s. Okay, so this is from Richard. It's just a wake-up call. I think this is the kind of thing like the wake-up call that some of these airlines who are lagging in the domestic segments. Malaysia Airlines are also thinking of retiring some of their A380s. Now, Malaysia Airlines, really fascinating situation with their A380s too. Like, given that they are using it for the pilgrimage flights, I think there's a special charter service. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think, but they're not using it for regular. I think not regular scheduled commercial air services. But yeah, I think the A380s are very useful in certain situations, like these high traffic, especially rescue flights. We've seen it happen where, especially with the I believe the Thomas Cook flights, where you saw people getting stranded, and a Malaysian A380 was actually used on, I think, one of these routes. It was chartered actually. So yeah, charters, heavy duty charters for like 500 people. Like, I can see that. I mean, like I mean, again, A380s. But beyond that, I don't really see like commercial flights right now. I mean, wish that they can do a cargo switch and pivot to a cargo freighter. But I don't know. I think the engineering of that would have been a little bit more tricky. I think, yeah, I've heard that the engineering for that kind of arrangement would probably not be as how a 747 from Kuala Lumpur to Manchester, the rescue. Yeah, that was, yeah. There is a use for the A380s, but it's just not regular. I mean, not regular operation. It's good to have, actually. I mean, think about it. Have it in a hangar somewhere. I mean, I mean, you must have like these kind of aircraft. You need at least like 500 people on it. Bangkok to Kuala Lumpur, yeah. Probably Bangkok to Kuala Lumpur. I can assume how many airlines are serving that route, and then you also have, and then, interesting enough, like apparently Thai Airways. I'm not sure if they're going to be the ones like giving them away, given that they still use it in Japan though during peak times. Probably could use a 777 on as a substitute, especially like you see it in Tokyo or Osaka, like Thai Airways and Bangkok. I would assume, like, would Thai Airways operate the A380s to Kuala Lumpur? I wonder how the demand is for that kind of route. Would it warrant, like, if all these smaller aircraft are getting full, and like an Air Asia, for example, going to Don Muang, would have like maybe like an A320 that's full? In terms of wait, trying to collect my thoughts here. Are you gonna do a live stream about airports? What kind of airports? I mean, specifically, like, the point. If I did another stream on this, I'd probably go crazy. But yeah, definitely in airports. Trying to think of like certain certain topics we can discuss. Yeah, you can comment or just bring up some ideas and maybe we can arrange it. Actually, one thing I want to discuss about is especially like you know I think Manila is one of those fascinating situation in terms of airports right now because you have NIA, Aquino Airport, which people I refer more to Manila Airport. Done a video on it and definitely went on there's a lot of developments ongoing still. Um, then you also have the Sangli airfield being used now for limited services. Then you also have the Clark, and then you have Bulacan. That's still, I believe that they are starting work on it. Manila a little bit more. I did a video on it, but I really want to bring in some people who are more knowledgeable in the region, like from Indonesia, actually can talk about like whether to build that project in Bandung or is it going to be like a white elephant project, or should Jakarta build even the new this is like one of those rare situations we get to see like a capital city. Singapore has been one of my favorites to really go to, and what can we expect at airports. That's another one we can discuss. There's so many ideas with airports. Yeah, Kalimantan, East Java, very fascinating situation with Indonesia. And right now, that's another country that I really would love to find some more information on. And then I know there's other airport projects that the government is kind of working on, especially given its archipelago and air travel is like very essential for getting around there. I think the AirAsia subsidiary is also doing well there. Right, I gotta go double check on my the financial statement of AirAsia Group, if that's correct. Then you also have Bali. Of course, Bali is like one of those. Well, I probably wouldn't do a video on Bali unless there's like some sort of development happening there. Another one I really want to do is like the more fascinating airport situation I really want to do a live stream on. I've just thought about it is the Tokyo, Haneda, and Narita. And also the crowding. Actually, I just got thought about it. The crowding situation in Seoul right now. There, Korea, Seoul, Incheon, and there's also other emerging airports, and some airlines like the low-cost airlines in Korea, interesting enough, are trying to diversify beyond Seoul. So instead of using Gimpo or Incheon, they're using other hubs like Cheongju and also Jeju has been picking up. Yeah, in Korea again. Korea is one of the other fun places to talk about low cost airlines, and then of course I also like talking about Delta and Korean Air because it's just so fascinating that the pairing of those two airlines in Trans-Pacific travel, it was just so. And also Terminal 2, Terminal 2 in Incheon now has become the SkyTeam hub. Now again, some perks of the airline alliances, that there are some fascinating great hubs, great hub terminals. You see like Heathrow Terminal, I think Terminal 5 for Star Alliance, actually, I think, in Heathrow, one of the more interesting places. And then you also have you have Terminal 2 at Incheon. You have return again. Airline alliances are just so fun to talk about because it's just like whatever you see like a headline, certain airline starts this route. I'm like, how does this benefit the other airlines in the partnerships? Really fun. I mean, and you also have Bangkok is having this. Also another place too would be like the situation. But yeah, Japan is actually the most fascinating airport situation, I think, in Asia right now. And then you also have Beijing. Beijing, actually, we can talk about that even further. Beijing, Daxing, and how they're gonna balance that out with following this whole coronavirus outbreak thing. Daxing and The balance between Daxing and Capital Airport. Very fun topic to discuss about, actually. And also, so many airports. Asia is like one of those fascinating places that so many airport developments that really are at the envy of the world. You got Singapore Changi. You have, then you also have Hong Kong's Incheon, Haneda, Daxing. Apparently, now they're building like some other. I know Chengdu is getting another one, a mega airport in Chengdu. Did a video on that. Pretty fascinating situation going there. Yeah, so many topics with airports. I mean, if there's anything that's really, really fun to talk about, like there's so many fun topics, but if I were to pick one, I'd be like the airline alliances would be the top one, because it's very much shaped the and the joint ventures very much shaped the I'm ranting here, but very much shaped the whole landscape of air travel in this region, and now you're seeing how it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be key. Another thing key to the recovery. I think there's gonna be more partnerships now. We're gonna be seeing some more partnerships with these airlines in terms of certain routes and markets. Because like again, I'm thinking. Gonna have another future. Wonder what would be the next mega hub. I think Jakarta's really interesting situation. We also have Manila. I think Manila and Jakarta are gonna be the two the hubs that everybody's gonna be looking at, and whether they're gonna be able to compete with like the likes of Hong Kong, or Tokyo or Seoul or Beijing. Manila is really fascinating. For years, they've been talking about a new airport, and finally that there's some action happening now. Actually, a lot of Filipinos are really happy about it. Now the airport, if it happens sooner enough, the airport's situation in Manila gets. I don't know if it's gonna be fixed enough. Gonna have a lot of options now, and the airlines I think is gonna be strong. There's gonna be like positioning what airports would be best serving domestic customers, and some routes will be shifted. We're gonna see like Manila turn into like in terms of the A380 program failure. Was it unforeseeable? I don't know. Hindsight, I don't want to second guess Airbus here. I think Airbus, there was a lot of pride in it, and that A380 aircraft is an engineering marvel. I've said it in the past. It's in terms of a program of manufacturing. Yes, it's commercially wasn't as viable as they wanted it, and I think there's a lot of factors in terms of like 9/11 happened. That was before the whole project was announced. Then you have you also had the issue of a lot of the airlines are now struggling. So before, I think this is not the time of the 1980s, early 1990s, when you have like Japan Airlines becoming like one of those big carriers, the biggest airline at some point. It was like the Emirates in terms of connecting travel, like just going everywhere. Actually, yeah, I want to do a video on Japan Airlines history. Actually, I have it one planned though. I know there's a really good documentary on Channel News Asia related to the resurgence of it, and in that, like, that was a time when I think the A380 could have been viable given the situation that everybody was just like flying jumbo jets left and right. And Japan Airlines was one of the forerunners, and Tokyo was like the hub of 747s at that time. So nowadays, you see, we're seeing all these like Emirates is now the 777 airline, and you have airlines like Japan and ANA that are the 787s, 787 operators, and others too. Yeah, really fascinating. I gotta remember what I'm saying here. Like, good thing I can go back and do the live stream thing again. Yeah, anything else? We can conclude soon. I think we went over where I wanted to go. Was it unforeseeable? Okay. So now, yeah, it's just right now depressing news. Yeah, I think if there's nothing else, I'll go ahead and end the stream here. Thanks everybody for joining. No, it's kind of like I know I originally had this planned out, but eventually I realized these streams are way better unplanned. And next time I'm gonna have my notes, but I'll just throw it out like after the first 5 to 10 minutes. Some points, but I'm glad I got through the main points that I wanted to make through with the India, Central Asia. Also, the Middle East is nobody's being spared. So even like the lucrative airlines of Emirates and Qatar and well-funded airlines. I mean, but well-backed airlines. Yeah, great. Yeah, absolutely. I realized like usually the other videos are normally scripted. I have main talking points and I try, and then of course the edits, and then this one here I can just speak freely. I don't have to worry about what if I get this line wrong, or should I use this line, and if it happens, it happens. At this point, kind of thinking, of course I can just get some cup of water here, or my shaker cup here. Do you see Vistara a replace for Jet Airways? I think I'm not too familiar with India, like as a traveler in India. Vistara, I think, has that brand of being the premier airline. Now, I don't know, like in terms of like the average traveler of India, because it seems like the low cost airlines are of course like any other market, they're gaining more of the advantage now. In terms of replacing Jet Airways, I think there's an opportunity for sure. And I think they're gonna cater more to a very upper tier market, I believe, because given the way they've marketed themselves and the kind of amenities that they're offering compared to like Air India, and I think Vistara could actually become like a runner against Air India. But in terms of replacing Jet Airways, I think all the airlines are getting slots, so kind of like, yeah, it's kind of rambling here, but Vistara here, yeah, I think they could. There's a potential for them. I think they need to attract like the general market of Indians though. Now I can't be as a traveler of India say whatever, because that's why I really would have loved to see like any input from folks in India, what they have to say about it, and their take on the airline. Yeah. So if there's anything else, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here, and then kind of thinking, I know we went a little bit. Usually it's one of these. Yeah, definitely. I'll probably look into some more chats about beyond the virus, because I think this is getting kind of overplayed in the regular mainstream media. Even me, like I at this point I'm kind of like sick of the news already. Not really fun to watch, and now I want to talk about maybe recovery, and of course we've touched upon that. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, guys. Probably do more of these live streams. These are actually really fun to do. I don't have to script things, and I'll have my notes. Don't want to be like too stuck to the notes, because I kind of went off a little bit here. I know I was trying to go stick with but then again, we see the same news, so we're just gonna be like For the foreseeable future, we're gonna see the same news coming up left and right, and hopefully the recovery, like Emirates, I think Emirates, Qatar, all these airlines, Nepal, Astana, and Uzbekistan. I think, yeah, especially like if they're the only airline serving as the international airline, like Nepal Airlines, I think, yeah, in Nepal, like an airline like them might be able to really pick up, given that they're the only ones who are usually doing international flights, like the long haul. Then again, you think about Nepal, and they have more international airlines coming in there too, so that's gonna be a little fuzzy situation. Yeah, gonna keep an eye on them. All right. Yeah, go ahead and end the chat here. So thanks a bit. Thanks to everybody. I'm gonna go let everybody rest and make sure get your medicines and stock up or whatever, and stay safe. Please don't get sick. I hope you don't get sick and all that. Um, be healthy, and we're living in some unprecedented times, and I wonder how it's gonna be interesting how this recovery period will be. Yeah, and you know, I hope the aviation industry recovers well, as much as anybody. I don't want to see any other airlines like go down, but it's a business thing, so we just have to wait and see how this is gonna happen, and we'll be there. We'll be there to see the news all over the place. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end stream here. Thanks a bunch, everybody. Have a great day. See you soon.